I'm sorry, Lord, that happened. But you know that I did not touch him. And I still don't have to catch a charge for it.
In this video, we will be examining the case of the Lance brothers, a story of two siblings involved in a robbery gone gruesome. The outcome of their interrogations could mean life or death.
If you want to help yourself to avoid the death penalty, so be it. Death penalty. You charged with murder, son.
But before we can dive into these interrogations, we must first set the scene. On November 13th, 2015, at exactly 2:50 a.m., a man named Brooks Cantley dialed 911.
Anderson County 911, it's location your emergency.
Yes, come to McAlister Drive. My dad has been killed and his car has been stolen.
Okay, are you in the house with him?
Yes, I'm in the house with him. Please.
Okay, listen, can you tell me, is he still breathing?
He's not breathing. He's not breathing. Oh my God. I'm so scared.
I know, I understand. Listen, I've got people coming to you to help you, okay?
His body is really, really hard and he's on fire.
He's on fire?
Yes, he's on fire.
The caller was able to extinguish the flames, and deputies from the Anderson County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to 314 McAlister Drive, a farmhouse located a few miles east of Pendleton. They arrived at the scene and entered the residence. A thick smoke surrounded them, hindering their vision and ability to breathe as they made their way through the house. The place had been ransacked, with cabinets and drawers left open and items scattered everywhere. The deputies eventually found the source of the smoke that they were breathing in. In one of the rooms, the victim's body was still smoldering. The victim was 53-year-old Todd Cantley. It was determined that the cause of death was a skull fracture caused by blunt force trauma to the head, but the investigators could not locate the weapon used. However, there were multiple stab wounds to Todd's neck as well, and directly beside him was the knife that was likely used. As for the fire, it seemed that the killer had potentially used that same knife to puncture this can of lighter fluid. They then doused Todd in the lighter fluid, the flames resulting in second and third degree burns all over his body. Several items were missing from the Cantley residence, including an Xbox gaming console, multiple guitars, Todd's black BMW, and a .22 caliber rifle. A be on the lookout notice was put out for Todd's BMW, and the police began their search for suspects. However, they wouldn't need to search long. At 3:55 a.m., another 911 call rang in from a woman named Melanie Locklear.
Yeah, number services that may help you.
My daughter, she's 16, and she came and let me upset because she said her boyfriend and his brother had killed somebody. Her boyfriend's name is Jacob Lance, and his brother is Ernie Lance, and she said that her boyfriend had hit him with a baseball bat, and his brother had cut the guy's throat. She's coming here crying because her and Jake have a baby together, and she didn't want me to tell anybody.
Okay, ma'am, I do appreciate you calling, and I'll get this to the right people.
A surveillance team was immediately assigned to keep an eye on Ernie and Jacob Lance. That same morning, Todd's BMW was found in the town of Iva, about 30 miles south of the crime scene. Whoever ditched the car here had also tried to burn it by stuffing a rag in the fuel filler and lighting it on fire. However, the rag was the only thing that burned. Following this discovery, SWAT teams were directed to move in on the Lance brothers. Just 10 hours after Todd Cantley was found murdered, Jacob and Ernie were apprehended at their homes and transported to a holding cell at the sheriff's office.
We have new information tonight about the murder of an Anderson County father found dead early this morning by his teenage son. 2 people have now been arrested. 11 hours after their investigation began, Anderson County deputies walked Oscar Ernest Lance and his brother Jacob into the sheriff's office for questioning in the murder of this 53-year-old father.
While executing a search warrant for Ernie's property, Todd's stolen items were found, including 5 guitars, an Xbox hidden inside a couch, and a .22 caliber rifle, which was wrapped in a sheet and hidden in the woods behind Ernie's home. This may have been enough to charge the Lance brothers with burglary, but there was still no sign of the murder weapon, and therefore nothing linking them directly to the murder. If authorities wanted to keep the Lance brothers behind bars, they would have to elicit a confession. It was up to lead detective Nathan Mitchell and Staff Sergeant Tracy Call to make this happen. With Jacob only being 19 years old, 14 years younger than Ernie, they bet that he was more likely to break under the pressure, so they started with him.
Investigator Mitchell will be in here in just a second, okay? My name is Tracy Cobb, one of the investigators from the sheriff's office, too.
All right, freezing, man.
Well, you know what? We freeze in the wintertime, and we sweat in the summertime. I don't understand the heating system of this building.
Sergeant Call's statement may be true, but keeping the interrogation room cold is a common tactic used to make the suspect physically uncomfortable. This discomfort typically pressures the suspect to become more cooperative. However, Jacob has a simple solution of his own.
Glad you ain't got me cuffed. Yeah, this is Nathan Mitchell, lead investigator.
What am I here for?
So right now I got you charged with murder and burglary.
How?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
If you don't have real evidence, then I shouldn't be locked up.
If I don't have real evidence, you wouldn't be sitting right here.
Well, I ain't done nothing.
I wouldn't have stolen guitars at your house.
I got them from somebody.
Who'd you get them from?
I ain't saying no names.
I guess it's on you then, isn't it?
How?
You got it.
It don't mean I killed somebody. It don't mean I ran up in somebody's house.
Where were you last night?
With my girlfriend.
All night.
Huh? See, I got alibis.
Not really. You don't.
Hold on.
Jacob doesn't realize that the detectives have already spoken with his girlfriend, which is why he was arrested in the first place.
You left your girlfriend's house late last night. Before midnight.
Before me?
Before midnight.
You can't ask my girlfriend that.
I have.
Do you realize we've talked to a lot of people, right? What they've told us has been fruitful.
The detectives are dismantling Jacob's defenses one by one. They apply even more pressure by calling Jacob out on his lies.
So why don't you just quit telling the damn lies and let's talk about what really happened? Where'd you go last night when you left the girlfriend's house?
I went to my brother's. We drank some beer.
And then what?
Chill.
And?
Drank more.
Well, let's talk about the trip to Ida then. Well, what time there did you get the BMW?
The BMW.
That didn't burn.
What BMW?
Jacob is just now realizing that any evidence left in Todd's BMW was not successfully burned. If Jacob still isn't concerned, what the detectives say next will undoubtedly change that.
You know, I don't care if you tell us what happened or not. I can prove what all happened last night without you telling me. Okay? I ain't got time sitting here listening to a whole bunch of bullshit and lies.
This is a courtesy to you.
Now, if you want to help yourself to avoid the death penalty, so be it.
A death penalty.
Death penalty. You charged with murder, son.
It have nothing to do with the shit.
Who?
Me.
Okay, well, help me prove that. The problem is, you ain't got nothing.
I was a driver. I wasn't accessory anything.
You was a driver. The driver for what?
Did you get my brother Ernie's statement? Add it up.
I'm here talking about you. If you can't be man enough to say what you did or didn't do, we ain't talking about anybody else.
This response from Detective Mitchell is intentionally ambiguous, as he is trying to make Jacob worry about whether or not they have talked to Ernie yet. Cracks in Jacob's mental fortitude begin to show as the detectives keep chipping away.
You can take the coward out right all you want to, but
I'm trying to see my little girl. I don't want to be in.
not sitting in here, you ain't.
How the hell do I get out of here?
Tell the truth. Tell what happened. You know you won't tell us.
At this point, you need to think about you and that child.
Jacob tries to negotiate a deal for any information he will provide, but the detectives can't promise anything. They tell him that they believe it is in his best interest to tell the truth if he wants the prosecution to go easy on him.
Alright. So yeah, I sell weed. Brooks, he said that I ripped him off, and his dad is damn drunk, and he's threatening to shoot up my mom's house once. I felt like my mom's life was in danger. I went and I was hanging out with Ernie. We drank a couple beers. He was like, man, I need some money. I'm down on child support. Went to Brooks' house. We go in. Ernie's like, oh man, I want this TV. I want this gun. I want all this shit. He wanted to take care of Brooks' dad because he's been threatening our mom. We walked in the living room, opened the door, and Brooks' dad looks at me, grabs his pistol, and my brother said, what the fuck are you gonna do to my mom? Just started beating the shit out of him with the bat.
Where'd the bat come from?
It was my papa's bat.
So you just started beating him with the bat?
Yeah. And then Brooks' dad's just like laying on the table like this.
Yeah.
And then like he's just like choking on his own blood. And he says, get out. And I said, okay. And he took his knife, stabbed him one time right here, one time right here. So,
Jacob just said he was in the car while Ernie stabbed Todd in the throat. Yet, he knew the exact location of the wounds and even reenacted the movements. How could Jacob not only describe, but also reenact something he didn't see in the first place? Were these really his brother's actions? Not only that, but the way Jacob described this sequence of events offloads all responsibility onto Ernie. He even says that Ernie was the one who beat Todd with a bat and stabbed him in the neck. But this directly contradicts what his girlfriend Alyssa told her mom.
And she said that her boyfriend had hit him with a baseball bat and his brother had cut the guy's throat.
The detectives picked up on these red flags and took everything Jacob said with a grain of salt as they continued their questioning.
and he also told me he'd set him on fire.
Where were you at when you did that?
In the car. Because he told me to get it out.
Did you see the fire?
Was he really set him on fire? How bad? What did he look like? Show me a picture.
I didn't take no pictures.
Why would you want to see a picture of that?
I was just kidding. That was a joke. But anyway, what were we talking about again? I just said, oh, I got the keys to this motherfucker's car. I'm on driving to make the cops think it was a robbery and lead them off.
Where's the bat?
He chomped it somewhere the moment we dumped the car.
Where you dumped the car?
Back in the ponds.
In the pond.
Ponds.
How far down in the pine trees you got back?
I didn't tell the bell we're doing the car, so I wouldn't know.
How do you know he put the bat in the trees?
Because he didn't have it when he got back in the car.
Notice how Jacob is engaged in the dialogue and making direct eye contact with the detectives while giving details about the whereabouts of the bat. Then, the next moment, Jacob realizes he is volunteering too much information. Suddenly, his demeanor changes and he begins to backtrack. His body language now shows clear signs of nervousness. His legs are shaking as he picks at his face and avoids eye contact. He then quickly changes the topic with a question.
So I'm still facing life.
You're charged with murder and burglary first right now.
All I did was drive. I shouldn't be charged with murder.
But you was there, you could have stopped it.
I didn't know God.
Let me ask a question. At any time you call 911?
Why would I call 911 on my brother? Would you call 911 on your brother?
If he killed
To
somebody?
avoid a murder charge? Probably. Yes. You can't tell me you didn't have any interest in it. You wanted to see him get hit for what he's been saying about your mom and the family. Just like you asking about a picture of him being burned. That interests you. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, say I'm wrong.
I don't know. Everything I just told you is all bullshit.
Huh?
Everything, that's all lies.
What you just said about him hitting him and all?
No, I just made a bunch of bullshit to throw you off.
So what's the truth then?
What's the truth then?
I'm done answering questions. Take me back downstairs.
Okay. That's why you want to do it?
Jacob left the interrogation feeling ripped off, while the detectives left with the jackpot. However, they weren't celebrating just yet. There was still one more suspect to speak with. 9 minutes after wrapping things up with Jacob, Ernie is now in the hot seat. He is much older than Jacob, and the detectives expect this to reflect in how he behaves under pressure. Clearly, the two respond to the cold the same way, but they respond to the detectives completely differently.
Look, I don't have nothing to hide. I'm going to cooperate with you because y'all come through my door and there's like 15 of y'all bad boys there. Mm-hmm. And who going to be dumb enough to run? And I'm like, I just want a cup of coffee. But anyways, you said it was about burglary.
Yeah, burglary's part of it. Let's start with where you was at last night.
Jake taught me to go out and get some beer. I ain't going to lie, I bought him a beer. He's underage.
Right.
7-Eleven.
Let me answer this real quick and I'll be right back. I'm going to check on that coffee too. Okay, be right back.
I'm not going to run. You don't have to lock the door, bud.
Ernie is left alone for a few minutes. During this, he vocalizes a few of his thoughts.
Y'all ain't got to keep it so damn cold. You know where I was at, Lord. You know where I was at. Why do you keep walking off? Y'all sit here and tell me something.
Eventually, the detectives re-enter the room and pick up right where they left off.
And you went to the 7-Eleven by your house?
Yeah, by my house.
Well, the good thing is these stores nowadays all have videos.
Cool. That's why I'm telling y'all this. That's why
That's why I'm
giving
be
y'all
truthful.
I told you from the minute y'all locked me up, I will cooperate. I mean, just keep asking, I'll answer. I'm here to cooperate.
Tell me about the BMW last night. Let's see where you go with that. The BMW from Todd's house, where did it go?
Who's Todd, first off? No bullshit. Who's Todd?
The guy that's been threatening to shoot up Jacob and your mama and the family's house. And
I know what you're talking about now. He texted Jacob the other day, talking about Jacob ripped him off on like $1.5 allowed. I wouldn't have jumped in that bullshit. But I don't know Jake to do nothing like that.
To rip him off or?
To do shit, bro. My brother's a pussy. Jake is not the type to go busty and gung-ho. He's not made that way. I'm not made that way.
Ernie seems to think that he knows what kind of person his brother is. Detective Mitchell takes this opportunity to plant the seed that perhaps Jacob is more devious than Ernie thinks.
Did Jake throw you under the bus? To help himself?
Hell, I don't know. I didn't do nothing. He can throw me all up under anything he wants to.
But he wouldn't throw you under the bus. He wouldn't sit right there in that seat and say, it wasn't me, it was Ernie. Why would he throw you under the bus?
I don't think he threw me under the bus. How did Jake and Ernie get brought into it? Is my whole thing.
Well, Todd's house got robbed. Robbed him of a bunch of guitars, a TV, Xbox, stuff like that. And while there, decided to beat his head in with a baseball bat.
What?
And as if that wasn't good enough...
You accusing me of this?
I'm not accusing you. Jake's sitting right there saying, I didn't do it. Ernie did. You willing to take a lie detector?
A lie detector. I trust you. Look, I trust that lie detector like I trust you, boss.
This lack of trust would explain why Ernie repeatedly ignores the detectives when they say that Jacob ratted him out.
If y'all got the Ernie and Jake show going on, y'all do y'all thing, man. And I ain't trying to be a smartass, but I'll answer everything you want. But when you brought that hurting a man...
Not just hurting, killing him.
He's dead.
I wouldn't do that. That's one sin you cannot pass. And that is something serious to me. I don't know what you want me to say, because I'm not going to admit nothing I didn't do.
Ernie clearly trusts Jacob more than the detectives, but they have an ace up their sleeve that might just turn the tables. They exit the room to get what they need, leaving Ernie alone yet again.
I'm checking something right quick.
Okay. Be right back. Yes, sir. I'm not going far. Oh, I wish I would put some deodorant on too, because my arms is kicking. Lord, you know where I was. Let him know where I was. I've got way too much to lose for little shit like this. You know the truth. That's all that matters to me, Lord. Lord, just take me back and let me get me some lunch. Put me in change or something. Did not kill nobody. Why would I do that? Well, reason I got to burglarize when I'm sitting here making barely just enough money to survive. Tell me why. Yeah, you got a million motherfuckers saying the same thing. But I'm not them. I'm me. And I'm sitting here, and you're behind the glass. I'm going to jump in the show, because I told you mine. I want somebody to come here so I can talk to them. So what you wanted me to do, finish to go copy out. So I had to piss and be uncomfortable again. Can you come back in here now?
This question is answered when the detectives re-enter the room, this time with the last thing Ernie expected.
You still don't think he sold you out?
Went to Brooks' house. We go in. Ernie's like, oh man, I want this TV, I want this gun, I want all this shit.
This is part of the damn interview where he goes,
Let me hear it.
He wanted to take care of Brooks' dad because he's been threatening him.
He said, I said So he's saying, I want to take care of him.
And he says, get out. And I said, okay. And he took his knife, stabbed me one time right here, one time right here. Just there.
Ain't gonna make you shit up.
I had a feeling you wasn't. You ready for my statement?
Finally accepting that he was betrayed by his brother, Ernie seems to have a newfound urge to tell his side of the story.
I'll tell you something. He brought that shit up about I hit that man. No. This is the God honest truth I'm telling you now. I helped pack that stuff up for him about that fucking time. He's like, let's go do this. He had my papa's Louisville slugger. He gets the fucking bat, goes up in the fucking, goes to busting door. I said, no, Jake, we're done. We're done. I swear to God, I sat there and I looked at him. I said, Jake, we got the stuff. Jake pops the door up and that dude said, you need to get the fuck out of my house. And Jacob starts wailing. All I could do was pull on him, man. I don't know if he still got a mark on his neck or not, but I was trying to pull him. Stop. Stop. I don't want to rat my little brother out.
He threw you under the bus.
That's why I played hard, because that's what you're supposed to do, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't go down for my brother.
I'm not after seeing that bullshit.
Where's the bat?
Huh?
The bat.
I don't know where the bat is.
Well, he said you threw the bat where the car got burned.
Apparently, I done everything.
You set the man on fire.
I didn't set no man on fire. Are you for real?
Yes.
It gets worse?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I didn't set him on fire.
That's why he had two.
Jake was in there for a couple more minutes. But when we was pulling out driveway, I didn't see no fire or nothing.
Yeah, he set him on fire.
He said you did.
Well, it sounds like to me he wasn't up the fucking getaway driver out of that video. You know what I mean?
That's what he tried
That's
to
what,
say.
that's what he tells us.
I want to ask him, out of all the times I had your back, out of all the times you needed me, where the you at now? If that little ass muncher gets off on this bullshit after all his mastermind.
He ain't getting off on it. Handle one, handle all. Just like if me and him go to rob a liquor store. I'm driving, he robbing, I get charged. Handle one, handle all.
The interview wraps up and Ernie breaks down as the detectives leave the room. After regaining his composure, he has one more thing to say before the detectives take him away.
I'm sorry, Lord, that happened. But you know that I did not touch him. And I still don't want to catch a charge for it.
Following their interrogations, both Jacob and Ernie were charged with burglary, arson, and murder. But investigators still didn't have the murder weapon, so they monitored the brothers' jailhouse phone calls, hoping for more clues. Just one day later, Jacob made this call to his girlfriend, Alyssa.
There's a collect call from
Jacob Ware.
an inmate at Anderson County Jail.
They're trying to charge me for murder. I didn't murder his day. I didn't touch him.
Who did, Jacob?
Ernie didn't. He kept hitting him, and then he stabbed him in the throat. And then...
Ernie hit him with a baseball bat?
Yeah, and then he set him on fire.
Jacob, where's the baseball bat at?
In the woods behind Ernie's.
With this bombshell information, a team of investigators thoroughly searched the woods behind Ernie's property. Lo and behold, the murder weapon was finally found. During the legal proceedings, Ernie refused to look at his brother. Both of them were denied bond. After several months behind bars, neither of them would take responsibility for killing Todd. They both ended up taking a plea deal, reducing their murder charges to manslaughter. They each received a sentence of 30 years in prison for manslaughter and burglary, with an additional 15 years for arson. As of January 2025, Ernie resides in the Turbeville Correctional Institute. He has 0 bad behavior write-ups on his record and is currently earning work credits as a horticulturist. As for Jacob, he resides in the Kershaw Correctional Institution. On top of being terminated from several jobs over the years, he has also had several disciplinary sanctions for possessing contraband cell phones, which he used to receive inappropriate illegal videos and photos.